Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross.
Hi, hello, hey, hi.
I'm going to talk to you about success. Yes. Hi, it's Nicola here, and I wanted to welcome you to my Vzine, or my weekly vlog as it's called. We're coming today from my living room in Stoupa. It's too hot to go outside and there's too many cicada noises and everyone complains about the background noise when I go down the beach, so I've decided to just go with the flow and record where it's easiest and coolest. And on the first week of August, let me tell you, it's pretty damn hot in Greece. I'm actually feeling fine about it. It's really okay if you get used to being sweaty all the time. I've just come out of the shower, so my hair's a bit wet. That's quite nice and cool, and I've got a big air conditioning unit just up there blowing cool air at me, so I'm not such a sweaty mess as I am normally. Added to which, I am dressed, well, half decently, because I'm going out to Write Club, which is one of a creative writing group that I go to, one of my new hobbies, and it's been a really interesting week so far this week. It always is here. We have various things going on. I went out for dinner with my landlady last week. She's an amazing person. We had a good old chat. And I've been out for a couple of nights on my own. I don't mind going out on my own here at all. That's one of the nicest things about it. The waiters talk to you. You get to talk to other people. There was a big old group of Australian Greeks at the next table on one taverna. And on one of the other nights, we ended up staying up very late last Friday and singing along to tunes that we were choosing from one guy's iPhone. So we were getting to pick a tune and then everyone sang along to it because there was a guitar player there called Boris. Hi Boris, if you're watching this. And it was a really lively night. We had a fantastic time, and I've been really enjoying myself. Then Write Club today. What else have I done this week? Oh, I had to go somewhere the other day. Oh, I know. I tried a new place for lunch on Sunday, which was absolutely fantastic. It was up the hill a bit, and it's got the most luxurious swimming pool. It's like a resort area, and as long as you just buy a drink or buy something to eat, you can use the pool. And so that was really nice to get away from the sea for a change and up into a beautiful sort of manicured environment. Not my usual kind of thing, but the lunch was fantastic, and I really enjoyed the clean swim without having to get sand everywhere. So yeah, it's been a really, really good week in Stoupa. I'm absolutely loving living here, and I look around me, you know, this lovely house that I've been let, and at the beach and the mountains, and I just feel so lucky. You know, there's probably not a day goes by that I don't have a few minutes of sort of gratefulness for the magic of how it all happened. Let's get on with the show, shall we? So on the blog this week, Judith and I were talking about whether websites are becoming completely redundant. And I've always fiercely resisted this because I feel that you have to have a sort of a shop window, a shop front, if you like, on the web, and that should ideally be under your control. And so that, you know, you also need somewhere to store things like videos and materials like tick lists and cheat sheets, and all the sort of intellectual property kind of stuff you've got once you've built up an online business. And so I do still believe that, but then I realised something as we were talking, and Judith was saying actually the thing that's making her think about it is that hardly anyone opts in on her website or contacts her from her website anymore. She does get the odd person, obviously. She's a business coach, by the way, if you don't know who Judith is, and she's my co-host in the podcast. But what she actually is noticing more and more, that people are contacting her via social media. So they're either DMing her on Twitter, they're PMing her on Facebook, and then they fix up an appointment to talk from there. So she's actually starting to feel that her website is completely redundant. The other thing she's noticed is that even when people contact her from the website, they're asking her questions that are actually answered on the website. So she believes that they're not even reading anything that's on the website before they contact her. So what she thinks is happening is that they're building up an impression of her and her abilities and her personality from her social media activities, and then they're contacting her via social media. Now, I find this really uncomfortable because I'm a great believer in what James Schramko calls owning the racecourse, which means having all your intellectual property on a platform that you control. And you know, this whole thing about SoundCloud might be going down, you know, they hopefully they won't, but you know, they'll raise more money. But if they do, if you're someone like a DJ, my son's a DJ and a music producer, so I'm very aware of the sort of musical business side of things. You know, if you had just your stuff just stored there, you'd be completely screwed if that platform disappeared. So I'm a big believer in having stuff stored on something like Amazon S3 or Google Drive or Dropbox, for example, so that if anything happened to your computer and or anything happened to the platform where you were storing your stuff, then you'd still have a copy somewhere in the cloud that you could access from any computer in the world. So where does this leave me and my website? So I've been thinking, you know, I've actually been, Judith's traffic's increasing, and we don't know why that is. She's had someone working on her SEO, and apparently it can take up to 2 years for any work you do with SEO to bear fruit. Whereas I am actually very aware of SEO at all times, and I have actually been a lot more busy on my blog, so theoretically my traffic should be going up. And it's not, it's slightly declining. And I was thinking, oh, you know, this isn't great. And then I went and had a look at my statistics, and I realized that the number of people going to the homepage on my website is actually declining, but the number of people visiting blog posts, specific blog posts, so they're coming into a specific blog post, is increasing if I look at this year's figures compared with last year's figures. So individual blog posts seem to be doing better, whereas homepages as the entry point don't seem to be as important anymore. Now, obviously I'm doing, you'd think if my traffic was declining, I'd be getting a decrease in client inquiries and a decrease in business, and that's simply not so. Since I've increased my social media activities in January of this year with this Vzine, which then spins off into a video podcast and an audio podcast, and also, you know, we do the transcriptions and they go on the blog and they go on to things like LinkedIn and stuff. So we're leveraging the content of this Vzine everywhere, and business has gone through the roof. Only this week I've taken on 2 very exciting new clients, about which I can say not very much because they're quite well known, but it's a really exciting time for me, and a lot of that activity seems to have come from my social media activity. Now, this seems to be borne out by the kind of things that people like Social Chain in Manchester are doing, and various other, and Dan Knowlton down in Kent at KPS Digital Marketing. Anyway, look for Dan Knowlton and digital marketing and you'll find him. And there are some specific agencies around the country that are focusing specifically on social media marketing. Gary Vaynerchuk's VaynerWorld's another one, and VaynerMedia, of course. And so it does seem to be more and more that this is the new way to market things. Well, this is bad news for businesses who are so far behind the curve they haven't even got a decent website yet, if websites are becoming redundant. So, you know, you could just leapfrog the whole website thing if you're a business owner and go straight to social marketing and see how that works for you. It might just, you know, save you a few £1,000s in getting a website redesigned. If we could work with just in-cloud storage for our marketing assets, and then perhaps landing pages to capture people's names and emails, and that's another thing you've got to think about. Another thing we've been talking about is business apps. You know, if you've got all your social marketing happening on social media, then you need a mechanism to capture people as prospects for your business. And looking at my 2 children, Phoebe and Nelson, I don't imagine they put their names and emails in on websites very often. So you've got to think about how you can capture the interest of your prospects by means other than an email opt-in, because I think email marketing is still going very strong today, but Will it be in 5 years' time? I'm not so sure. Perhaps even 3 years' time. So these are the methods I'm using. I've got a push crew bit of code on my website, so if someone comes to my website or that of the podcast, they get offered the chance to get push notifications whenever new material comes on. That's a bit like getting notified when someone puts a new video on YouTube or a new post on Instagram, for example. I've also got my app. Do come along to nicolacairncross.com/app and download that, so I can reach people through the app. I can send them specific notifications based on where they are in the world, for example. So apps are good, push notifications are good, getting people to opt into notifications on things like YouTube and your Facebook page is good, and of course now there is the rise of bots. I'm really getting into using Facebook Messenger bots. You've got to use them carefully. You can't just bombard people with messages, so you have to lead people through a sequence of events. Say, for example, you get them to comment on one of your posts. That means that they're engaged with your Facebook page, and you can then advertise to them with content of value. Then you can get them to send you a private message. Say, for example, if they were interested in getting a report, they could send you a private message, and then you could respond back with a welcome message, and then the next message they get would be the one with the link to download the report. So you can pretty much do with bots what you can do with email, and that's very exciting. So I'm working very hard on bringing myself up to speed with that right now. And the real clincher for me, when I realised the other day that I've been following Steve Bartlett from Social Chain since about May, because someone recommended him to me, and the way I followed him was to go to his YouTube channel, and I've been watching all of his videos, and I suddenly realised the other day I hadn't been near his website at all in 3 months. So I am well up to speed with what Social Chain does. I'm well up to speed with what Steve Bartlett does. I know if I was a business owner how his firm could help my business, and I haven't been anywhere near his website till this week. So I think that's the clincher for me. Social marketing is becoming bigger and stronger, and if you want my help you do that, whether you want me to help you put a strategy together or whether you want us to do it all for you in terms of you deliver a few bits of content every few weeks, and then we'll take it from there, then do reach out. Come to the website at nicolacairncross.com, PM me on Facebook, or you can tweet me, direct message me on Twitter, or you can DM me on Instagram, because of course I am on every single one of those platforms, and you should be too. Okay, so on the blog this week, which is where we put everything that's been everywhere else, I've got the Vzine 27, which was last week's, which was all about the lady turning up at my website and calling me a Satanist. So that's quite an amusing one, so go and check that out. On Own It, episode 141, we were talking about business apps, and the lady who put that particular client challenge in said that it was incredibly helpful to her. So if you're thinking about getting an app for your business, if you've never thought about getting an app for your business, go and check out ownitthepodcast.com/141, and that will tell you all you need to know about it, because of course I have one. So previously we were talking on Vzine 26, we were talking about data mining and watching out for unscrupulous suppliers, web designers who, if you have a public space like a restaurant, a bar, a gift shop, a place of interest like a National Trust place, and you let people use your Wi-Fi in return for their name and email, then make sure you're getting that data and not your web designer, because apparently I've heard some stories that is happening. Yeah, and the Own It 140, which was a previous episode, was all about going from one-to-one, like a therapist or a psychotherapist or anyone who works one-to-one basically, and how to go into one-to-many while keeping your existing customers happy. So yeah, go and check out nicolacairncross.com/blog, and that's where we gather everything together, but for how much longer I can't tell you, because I think I'm just talking myself out of it. So see you next week anyway. Bye. So anyway, let's get on with the show, shall we? And I'll speak to you soon.